The next 80 years have some phenomenal performances to live up to. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 20 best performances of the century so far.
It's a familiar predicament to a man like you, isn't it, Dad? You think there he is, look like father, like son.
For this list, we're taking a look at the most outstanding performances from actors and actresses in movies released between 2000 and 2019. We've based our selections on a mix of awards recognition, critical praise, and overall impact on the film medium.
I spent my whole life paralyzed, worrying about what people think of me. And you're just oblivious.
Number 20, Jesse Eisenberg, The Social Network. Going into this decade, Eisenberg was written off as a Michael Cera clone. That all changed when the young actor escaped into the role of Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. While some have called this film's historical accuracy into question, there's no denying that Zuckerberg became one of the world's most influential, powerful, and controversial figures before even turning 25.
I believe I deserve some recognition from this board.
Eisenberg captures this to a T, depicting Zuckerberg as a tech genius who's awkward yet assertive, timid yet intimidating, and generally the smartest one in the room. Even when he's not the smartest person present, Zuckerberg's definitely the richest, and he's well aware of this.
You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount.
In addition to Eisenberg's multi-layered portrayal, Andrew Garfield delivered a breakout performance as Eduardo Saverin, Zuckerberg's friend/business partner turned bitter enemy.
I'm not signing those papers.
We will get the signature.
Tell me this isn't about me getting into the Phoenix.
Number 19, Rosamund Pike, Gone Girl. Although she had already established herself as an actress, Rosamund Pike's riveting work in Gone Girl made audiences feel as if they were seeing her for the first time.
You think you'd be happy with a nice Midwestern girl? No way, baby. I'm it.
Pike's performance as Amy Elliott Dunn snuck up on us in more ways than one. Pike initially paints Amy as a fragile woman who's trapped in a struggling marriage and living in the shadow of a children's book series she inspired. As Gone Girl shifts to Amy's perspective, Pike removes her mask to reveal a manipulative, diabolical mastermind who's pulling everyone's strings.
Because sometimes, the way he looks at me, I think, man of my dreams, father of my child, this man of mine may kill me.
Cheeky, charming, complex, and creepy, Pike leaves the viewer constantly guessing what Amy will do next. Pike never goes too over the top in the role, however, creating a psychopath who's surprisingly and hauntingly believable.
For Valentine's Day, I thought I'd buy a gun.
Number 18, Mahershala Ali, Moonlight. Moonlight caught many audiences off guard, and the same can be said about Mahershala Ali's Oscar-winning performance as Juan. While Juan is a drug dealer who's made many mistakes, there's more to him than meets the eye. Despite putting up a tough front, Juan is an accepting and even gentle soul who takes young Chiron under his nurturing wing. Had life dealt him a different hand, Juan likely wouldn't have resorted to criminal activity to survive.
Let your head rest in my hand. Relax. I got you, I promise. I'm not gonna let you go.
Juan doesn't excuse his actions though, living with the burden that he's part of a larger problem. Although he's only present for the first act, Ali's understated, deeply human performance gives the film a heartbeat.
Do you sell drugs?
Yeah.
Number 17, Frances McDormand, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I hear those 3 billboards out on Drinkwater Road. You're in charge of renting them out, that right?
Roughly 2 decades after Fargo, Frances McDormand won her second Best Actress Oscar for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
The crime I'm investigating, the perpetrators were driving a car with dealer plates, and they called someone who works here, so it'd be quite a coincidence if they weren't, connected.
Mildred Hayes couldn't be more different than Marge Gunderson, however. Marge was warm, understanding, and always knew the right thing to say. Mildred, meanwhile, is cold, closed-minded, and completely lost. When her daughter's murder goes unsolved, Mildred channels all of her anger, confusion, and grief towards the police department.
What's with the new attitude, Dixon? Your mama been coaching you?
Although Mildred's reckless actions eventually go too far, McDormand's complex portrayal nonetheless leaves us sympathizing and even identifying with her. Mildred simply wants to make sense of this terrible tragedy, but no matter what she does, there are no clear answers. She's a character who really speaks to the current zeitgeist, with McDormand adding a human element.
Still shacked up with some chick smells of shit. I don't know if the zoo's got anything to do with it.
Number 16, Halle Berry, Monsters Ball. Towards the end of the 20th century, Halle Berry played Dorothy Dandridge, the first black woman to receive a Best Actress Oscar nomination. So it's only fitting that Berry ushered in the 21st century as the first African-American Best Actress Academy Award winner.
Why is it a mess, Tyrell? Because a fat little piggy lives in this room!
While Berry had already given her fair share of strong performances, her gut-wrenching work in Monsters Ball was nothing short of transcendent. Berry is an emotional powerhouse as Letitia Musgrove, a lower-class woman who endures one family tragedy after another. In her darkest hour, Letitia seeks comfort in the most unlikely places, a prejudiced prison guard who, unbeknownst to her, is linked to her grief.
Oh, you make me feel good.
Although we see Letitia continually fall to pieces, she emerges as an inspiring character who keeps moving forward.
My name is Letitia Musgrove, and me and Hank is friends.
Number 15, Ellen Burstyn, Requiem for a Dream.
I never thought I'd be on television. I'm just a...
That's right, you on television.
We've seen some amazing films about addiction, although few have put the audience in the character's shoes like Requiem for a Dream.
Ma, I can hear you grinding your teeth from here.
That goes away at night.
At night?
Yeah, when I take the green one. 30 minutes, I'm asleep.
This psychological drama has an all-around striking cast, but it was the legendary Ellen Burstyn who received a Best Actress Oscar nomination for her unbelievably committed performance as Sarah Goldfarb.
You doing there?
Revolutionize your life.
Why are you doing this?
Where most of the film's central characters fall victim to heroin, the widowed Sarah becomes addicted to pharmaceutically enhanced weight loss. Sarah's determination to look slim on television turns into an obsession, taking a drastic toll on her body and mind. She thus serves as a disturbing reminder that drug abuse comes in many different forms. All the while, Burstyn is electrifying as a woman who's plunging deeper and deeper into a bad dream come true.
I love you, Harry.
I love you too, Mom.
Number 14, Christian Bale, American Psycho. 5 years prior to taking up Batman's mantle, Christian Bale took on a completely different kind of role as Patrick Bateman.
There is an idea of a Patrick Bateman, some kind of abstraction, but there is no real me.
Playing a rich, handsome investment banker might not seem like a stretch for Bale. The twist is that Mr. Bateman is a psychopath. His excessive morning routine and inner monologue don't even begin to describe how unhinged Bateman is. One minute he'll be playfully rocking out to some tunes, the next he'll be giddily hacking up a coworker with an axe.
Because it's not just about the pleasures of conformity and the importance of trends, it's also a personal statement about the band itself. Hey, Paul! Ah!
Bateman lures people in with his charm and charisma, only to catch them off guard when they least expect it. Likewise, the audience can't help but be drawn to Bateman, even though he leaves us uneasy and utterly horrified at all times.
I guess I've killed maybe 20 people. Maybe 40. I have tapes of a lot of it.
Number 13, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Capote. Throughout the 90s and early 2000s, Philip Seymour Hoffman stood out as one of our finest character actors. With Capote, Hoffman solidified his place as one of our best actors, period.
I am honest about what I write about. I'll let you know if it's autobiographical, if it's about me, or if it's not. And I find autobiographical stories at this juncture in my life to be quite boring.
In a role he was born to play, Hoffman becomes Truman Capote, the famed author of In Cold Blood. While Hoffman captures Capote's look, mannerisms, and distinct voice to perfection, he goes beyond giving an impression.
Two worlds exist in this country. The quiet conservative life, and the life of those two men. Like the underbelly, the criminally violent.
We know Capote for his eccentric personality, but Hoffman also taps into the ego, depression, and guilt that made him such a fascinating figure. Although we lost Hoffman far too soon, this Best Actor Oscar-winning performance is one of the many reasons why his legacy will live on for generations.
I did everything I could.
Number 12, Jamie Foxx, Ray. The music biopic has seen a rise in popularity throughout this century, but Jamie Foxx's uncanny turn as Ray Charles remains the performance to beat all others.
So I'm thinking we go with your middle name, Charles. As in Ray Charles?
I don't care what you call me, man. Just as long as my name is on the record.
While Foxx had already proven his capacity for heavy drama in a couple of films, he was still primarily known as a comedian and sitcom actor. Foxx forever changed the public's perception of him with this Best Actor winning performance, transforming into the legendary blind musician with astonishing precision.
Other eyes smile tenderly.
Although Foxx lip syncs to Charles's vocals during the singing portions, he does play the piano for the film. More importantly, Foxx brings out every facet of Charles: the musical genius, the crowd-pleasing performer, the flawed womanizer, the lost addict, and the inspirational figure who ultimately triumphed over a lifetime of adversity.
I know about everything. I'm just trying to figure out how you did it.
Number 11, J.K. Simmons, Whiplash. J.K. Simmons has been one of the 21st century's most consistently entertaining character actors. He landed the role of a lifetime in Whiplash, winning an Academy Award for his chilling performance as jazz instructor Terrence Fletcher. This merciless teacher conducts his band with the ferocity of a drill sergeant.
That's great. Yeah, it's all right.
Within seconds, Fletcher can go from being calm and reasonable to chucking a cymbal at a student's head.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
Now, was I rushing or was I dragging?
In Fletcher's mind, his brutal methods are justified as long as students reach their full potential, even if a few get pushed beyond their limits. As cold-blooded as Fletcher can be, Simmons unearths the character's humanity. He molds Fletcher into a Shakespearean antagonist who vindicates every cruel action he commits in the name of making beautiful music.
And that's more than most people ever do. And I will never apologize for how I tried.
Number 10, Leonardo DiCaprio, The Wolf of Wall Street. With another actor in the role, this movie's portrayal of Jordan Belfort probably would have been easy to despise. With Leonardo DiCaprio playing the titular Wolf of Wall Street though, Belfort is a figure we strangely admire and at times even envy. DiCaprio plays Belfort with the conviction of the world's greatest salesman.
Sell me this pen.
Even with the knowledge that he's an unreliable narrator who's committed deplorable deeds, DiCaprio makes Belfort impossible to resist. All at once, DiCaprio becomes an unrelenting stockbroker, an untamable party animal, and an untouchable god among men. DiCaprio also brings out Belfort's vulnerability as the authorities and reality slowly but surely begin to close in on him.
I can't go down through this flooded 3 feet of water down there!
I will not die sober!
While you can take away Belfort's fortune and freedom, nobody can take away his natural charisma. Number 9, Natalie Portman, Black Swan. Of all the performances we saw this decade, none took our breath away like Natalie Portman's in Black Swan. Literally, watching Portman fearlessly throw herself into the role of Nina Sayers is an exhausting experience. Portman is so arresting that we can practically feel the physical and psychological struggles Nina endures throughout the film. When we are introduced to Nina, she's as delicate as a porcelain doll and as innocent as a little girl.
When I look at you, all I see is the white swan. Yes, you're beautiful, fearful, fragile. Ideal casting.
Years of sexual repression and the pressure to be perfect gradually begin to unravel Nina's mind, leaving us to wonder how far she'll go to become the Swan Queen. Just as Nina evolves from a white swan to a black swan, Portman delivers a transformative performance that won her the Best Actress Oscar.
That was perfect.
Number 8, Tom Hanks, Castaway. Being a one-man show for most of its runtime, the success of Castaway almost entirely depended on its lead. Fortunately, Tom Hanks was more than up to the task of carrying the film on his shoulders. Hanks' Oscar-nominated performance starts off very dialogue-driven, playing Chuck Noland as a workaholic who's demanding yet caring and always likable.
87 hours is an eternity. The cosmos was created in less time. Wars have been fought, and nations toppled in 87 hours. Fortunes made and squandered.
Once Chuck is stranded on a deserted island, the performance begins to rely more on Hanks' body language and facial expressions. Hanks lost over 50 pounds during shooting, and we really feel that physical transformation.
We do. We have time. Look. The wind's still blowing in from the west.
What's more, we experience Chuck's isolation as he turns to a volleyball for companionship.
Wilson! Wilson!
While Chuck is a tragic figure in many respects, Hanks' humor and sincerity make him a bonfire of hope.
Look what I have created!
Number 7, Charlize Theron, Monster. If you went into this biographical crime drama without any knowledge of its cast, you probably found yourself wondering, dang, who's that unknown actress playing Eileen Wuornos?
You look good. Yeah. Thanks.
Then once the credits rolled, you dropped your jaw and exclaimed, wait, that's Charlize Theron? The South African beauty couldn't have been more unrecognizable as the prostitute turned serial killer.
I got everything going for me.
Weight gain and makeup aside, Theron totally threw herself into this role. While we never excuse Eileen's heinous actions, Theron does bring out her raw humanity as she wrestles with abuse, mental illness, and the desire to be loved. Theron's magnificent work not only won her the Best Actress Oscar, but Roger Ebert hailed it as one of the greatest performances in the history of cinema.
I gotta stay here by the phone for my girl, because I gotta call her.
Number 6, Javier Bardem, No Country for Old Men. Javier Bardem was the embodiment of evil in his Oscar-winning performance as Anton Chigurh.
And now it's here, and it's either heads or tails.
The relentless Anton almost seems like a supernatural entity who will destroy anything or anyone that stands in his way, showing zero compassion in the process. Anton is very much a human being, however, which makes Bardem's portrayal all the more harrowing.
I know where it is.
I know something better.
What's that?
I know what it's going to be.
While Anton may bleed like any other person, whether or not he possesses a soul is another question entirely. We don't get a sense that Anton enjoys causing pain and suffering. Rather, it's as if he doesn't have a choice, living by a strict set of principles and judging a person's fate based on a coin toss.
Step out of the car, please, sir.
What is that?
I need you to step out of the car, sir.
Whatever Anton is, Bardem's performance personified the darkest side of mankind.
Would you hold still, please, sir?
Number 5, Toni Collette, Hereditary. In Hereditary, Toni Collette is both the most terrifying presence on screen and the person primarily being terrified.
I just want to die.
As this psychological horror film unfolds, we're not sure if the grief-stricken Annie is succumbing to her own insanity or an evil entity creeping into her house.
But you can't take responsibility for anything! So now I can't accept. And I can't forgive.
Either way, Collette makes the character empathetic while also making her downright blood-curdling. We see a woman doing everything in her power to keep it together, but it's only a matter of time until she crumbles to pieces. When that moment finally comes, Collette turns into a wrecking ball of sheer terror. Although Collette didn't receive a Best Actress Oscar nomination, she's given an immortal performance that ranks alongside Linda Blair in The Exorcist and Mia Farrow in Rosemary's Baby. Number 4, Jake Gyllenhaal, Nightcrawler. Speaking of performances that went overlooked by the Academy, how did Jake Gyllenhaal not get an Oscar nomination for Nightcrawler as he did for Brokeback Mountain? Gyllenhaal is the definition of eerie as Louis Bloom, an ambitious sociopath with a phony grin, a knack for negotiating, and no moral code. It's never revealed where Bloom came from.
I bet you're beautiful any time of the day. In fact, I'd say you're much prettier than Lisa Mays.
For all we know, he's a robot trying to blend in with society. That would explain why Bloom is seemingly deprived of anything resembling a soul, showing zero empathy for the victims he captures on tape and conspiring against anyone who stands in his way. Gyllenhaal strikes just the right balance of being charming and heartless.
What if my problem wasn't that I don't understand people, but that I don't like them? What if I was obliged to hurt you for something like this? I mean, physically.
Without even raising his voice, Gyllenhaal can crawl under your skin and send a shiver up your spine.
You keep talking like it's something that I may be interested in, but I'm not.
Number 3, Joaquin Phoenix, The Master. Throughout the past decade, no actor took more chances or excited us more than Joaquin Phoenix. As Arthur Fleck, Phoenix took the Joker to another realm of realism and dread.
They couldn't carry a tune to save their lives. Oh, why is everybody so upset about these guys? If it was me dying on the sidewalk, you'd walk right over me.
Yet Phoenix's turn as Freddie Quell may have been the most personal performance of his esteemed career. Freddie is a World War II veteran who wanders through life without purpose until he joins a cult.
For if you figure a way to live without serving a master, any master, then let the rest of us know, will you?
Likewise, Phoenix was part of a cult as a child and has faced his fair share of trauma. Phoenix draws on his own experiences as a lost soul searching for somewhere to belong and someone to believe in.
In it, window, and I can leave anytime I want.
but I choose not to. I choose to stay here.
Phoenix's daring performance not only makes for a fascinating character study, but a thought-provoking example of how art imitates life, and vice versa. Number 2, Daniel Day-Lewis, There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis has only starred in a handful of movies this century. What his filmography lacks in quantity, though, Day-Lewis more than made up for in quality, as is always the case. While it was tempting to single out his Oscar-winning turn as Abraham Lincoln or his so-called swan song performance in Phantom Thread, Daniel Plainview is Day-Lewis's most unforgettable character.
And if the well begins to produce, I'll give your church a $5,000 signing.
$10,000.
Do you want to find someone else that's going to come up here and drill, Eli? Make the investment and do all the hard work that goes into it?
Day-Lewis's performance here is unlike anything we've ever seen. It's a nearly impossible balancing act that requires him to be over-the-top yet smooth-tongued, borderline comedic yet legitimately intimidating, and in constant control while also losing his sanity.
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my child!
Every second Plainview's on screen, Day-Lewis is taking an enormous risk, and every acting choice pays off in marvelous ways. We can all raise our milkshakes to that.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up!
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
You don't be what they made you.
500 pounds of cotton, day in, day out. More than any man here.
You already know my name. And you can see that I'm a machine.
There was an accident. You wouldn't tell me anything else, but that was your accident, Reed. I just know it was.
Son, this is the game. I'm playing his ass. That's my job. That's your job. Roger sold dope to kids. The world is a better place without him.
La chambre d'hôpital où Monsieur L, un père de famille dans la force de l'âge, apprend à vivre avec un locked-in syndrome, séquelles d'un grave accident cardiovasculaire.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Heath Ledger, The Dark Knight. The Joker has always been one of the greatest villains in any entertainment medium. Heath Ledger's performance, however, not only made us see the iconic character in a different light, but changed the way many of us look at acting.
I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
Ledger's portrayal encompassed everything we associate with the Clown Prince of Crime. A demented sense of humor, an ambiguous past, a menacing presence.
Could you please just give me a minute?
Yet he also turned him into something entirely new, reinventing the Joker as a domestic terrorist who mirrors real-world evil. His Joker doesn't just enjoy spreading colorful mayhem, he takes pride in pushing society to its limits, doing so with a smile on his face.
You won't kill me out of some misplaced sense of self-righteousness.
Elevating an already renowned character to unprecedented territory, Ledger's posthumous Oscar-winning performance is one for the ages. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.